Hey guys, I'm Kendra.
Hi, and I'm Mercedes, and this week we're talking about one of my favorite love triangles of all time in Bridget Jones's Diary.
Yes, of course, but of course, Mercedes, we have to talk our celebrity crush of the week. Who are you crushing on this week?
So, this is no surprise if you listen often, Nico Haraga. I just want to give him a shout out because I adore this boy.
Yes.
And he just finished filming a rom-com that's planned to release next year. And something I really appreciate about him is the majority of the films he's in are directed by women. And he hasn't been in a
Hmm.
lot, but the majority, like he's only been in one that hasn't been directed by a woman. And I don't know if
Interesting.
this is an intentional decision he makes, but I just want him to know that it doesn't go unnoticed. And I really
Hmm.
appreciate seeing his filmography.
Thank you, Nika Harago, for your contribution to women in film.
Yes, exactly.
So, a few months back, Chris Evans did a shot-on-the-land interview where the interviewer asked him what are you hyper focused on? Do you know the interview I'm talking about?
Oh, do I know it? Yes. I have the
Okay,
audio
okay.
saved on my TikTok.
Okay, me too. Oh my god, me too. Okay, so it was a question along those lines. So this is just for anyone who doesn't know, because Mercedes already knows. He talked about how he's currently hyper focused on finding a partner and someone to spend his life with. And I even just saying it right now, I tear up because I watched that clip again last night because I have it saved on my TikTok as well, like the
Aw.
interview. And it's just so honest and vulnerable. And I feel bad because obviously Chris Evans is a good looking guy, so I feel like he gets kind of dismissed when it comes to feelings like that. Like people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, why are you're Chris Evans, you're Captain America. You can find anyone." But no, it is actually really genuinely hard to find someone who will add value to your life. And especially if you are someone of Chris Evans status where you already have everything, you do need that person that still adds value. So it makes it I think even more difficult. And I don't know, it just gives me hope a bit to hear him say that, and also hope that hey, maybe I'm the one that he's been looking for.
Ooh, I support it. We know you
Yes.
love a Boston boy.
I
So it would
love,
make
I
sense.
love, oh my god, it's so bad. I love Boston Boys. I literally had a day where I just watched all of Ben Affleck's movies that he directed. I watched God Baby God. I watched The Town. I was like, I watched The Departed. I was like, I just love Boston,
Ooh.
dirty Boston Boys. It's so bad. It's so bad. Guys, we're gonna move over to TLDR before I can continue to embarrass myself. We just like to recap the movie for anyone who has not seen it. Warning: there are spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen this movie, you can stream it on Netflix. Take it away, Mercedes.
Yes, Bridget Jones, played by Renee Zellweger, is 32 and single and can't seem to get any aspect of her life in order. At her parents' New Year's party, she's introduced to divorced barrister Mark Darcy, played by Colin Firth, and the two both leave the interaction annoyed by one another. Bridget goes home and makes a resolution to turn her life around and starts keeping a diary to mark her journey, to stop smoking and drinking, lose weight, and to find a man. At work, her boss, Daniel Cleaver, played by Hugh Grant, suddenly takes an interest in her. The two start with flirtatious banter and eventually begin dating. All the while, Bridget seems to run into Mark Darcy at every event, and she learns from Daniel that Mark used to be his best friend until he slept with Daniel's fiance. Things take a turn in Bridget's relationship when she catches Daniel cheating and the two break up. Now on a path of self improvement, she finds a new career and cuts him out of her life. Then she crosses paths with Mark again, where he apologizes for their initial meeting and confesses that he likes her just as she is. Bridget's feelings grow for Mark, and she begins to see him in a different light. When he shows up at her birthday dinner, she's impressed by his consistent willingness to help her. The night turns chaotic when Daniel shows up drunk and unannounced. Then he and Mark fight in the street. Bridget ends up rejecting both men afterward. She soon learns the truth that Daniel was the one who slept with Mark's wife, and she apologizes to him and confesses her feelings at his family's party. This doesn't go as planned, as Mark is set to move to New York for work, and Bridget is left brokenhearted. Later, as Bridget's friends convince her to go to Paris with them, Mark shows up at her apartment. The two finally kiss in the street after he buys her a new diary, and in typical Bridget Jones fashion, she is standing in the snow wearing nothing but a sweater and tiger print underwear. And they live happily ever after.
Happily Ever After. This is a 2001 film written by Helen Fielding, who also wrote the sequels. Andrew Davies, who wrote House of Cards, and Richard Curtis, who wrote some of our faves like Love Actually, Four Weddings and a Funeral, About Time, and Pirate Radio. So,
Amazing.
Mercedes, tell me all the facts. Tell me all the
I
facts.
have I have so many facts for you,
You got
Kendra.
facts for me.
This movie was adapted from the 1996 novel of the same name, written by Helen Fielding, which came out from her success as a columnist for her column, also by the same name. And the story is inspired by Pride and Prejudice, hence Mark Darcy. So it's even better that Colin Firth plays Mark Darcy, since he played Mr. Darcy in the 1995 Pride and Prejudice. Iconic.
Iconic. I have to say, though, Mercedes, if we're talking about Pride and Prejudice, like adaptations, 2006, Joe Wright, Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden, that's my Pride and Prejudice. I have a tattoo on my hand. It always wins. It always wins. I have a tattoo on my hand that says, your hands are cold, because that's what Keira Knightley says to Mr. Darcy at the end when he's like, I love you. She's like, your hands are cold. So it has a little sunrise too, because you can see the sun peering through them. Like,
it's perfect. And then never forget his hand after he helps her into the carriage. The hand.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what it is about that.
I can watch it any day. It came out on my birthday, the year it came out, and really? So now it's just permanently a part of me.
Love it. You are so lucky. I'm jealous. It's funny that this movie ends with her like running in the snow in her underwear, because I was screaming at that scene, but then I was happy to find out that actually the snow scenes were actually filmed during the summer, which makes sense, because I was like, girl, you about to get hypothermia for a man. Like, can we?
For real. What if she fell? Imagine ice.
No.
Or just like, it's a city. You're in London. That snow is not like clean. Like, nope. They should have showed a little more dingy. Like, imagine.
I was worried for her, but I'm glad it was filmed during the summer.
Thank goodness. So other actors considered for the role of Bridget Jones were Helena Bonham Carter, Cate Blanchett, Rachel Weisz, Toni Collette, and Kate Winslet. Like, stacked options. And Zellweger spent weeks working undercover at a British publishing firm, and even hired a dialect coach to help her perfect her genuinely convincing British accent to land this role. And we know she also gained weight for the role too. And honestly, like, the hard work went into it, because then she ended up with the Oscar nomination for Best Actress. Like, very impressive.
Very impressive.
And her accent is so good.
It is. It's on point, 100%. It's funny that like all of these other actresses that were considered were actual British actresses. And
I know.
I think if it wasn't Renee Zellweger, I would have loved to have seen Kate Winslet in this. It's funny. I always think about this. You know how her and Leo are like best friends? I remember reading an interview that like Kate had just. I don't know if she had. I don't know. She was fat growing up, right? She was a bigger girl growing up. And when they were on the set of Titanic, and I think she was sharing something with Leo, Leo just straight up goes, listen, you're going to have to let go of that fat girl thing at some point. Like, and she said that was like the moment that like changed everything for her. I know, which is kind of, I don't know. But like, she said that was the moment that kind of like changed everything for her. Because like, she was Kate Winslet, right? It's like, who cares?
She's gorgeous. No matter what she looks, she's just spectacular. I think I would have loved to see Toni Collette. I love Toni Collette, and I think she would have gotten like the quirkiness of Bridget Jones so well.
I agree. Yeah. She definitely would have.
Also, my favorite fact, the fight scene wasn't choreographed. It was improvised.
How do you improvise throwing someone through a window? I'm curious.
I always think about that, and I'm just like, I wonder what they used for the glass. Like, I always think, because they land on all of like the broken pieces. So I'm like, what did they use for this?
Well, it's plexiglass, right? It's always plexiglass. That's what I assume.
It just seemed just so painful that I'm just, and oh gosh, I don't know. Never put me in a fight scene.
If I am saying this correctly, which I'm gonna be embarrassed because I definitely studied this in school and I don't remember. So plexiglass, or like glass like that they use to shatter when they like, take a bottle and break over someone's head. It's basically made out of like sugar water. So it's not like sharp. It just gives the effect of glass, but it's not actually like sharp. But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
You could never if I was an actor, you could never catch me doing my own stunts. It would not happen.
No Marvel movies for Mercedes.
No.
Guys, we're gonna move over to Time Capsule Mercedes, and I just like to recap where we were when we watched this movie, which I am ashamed to admit I had never seen this movie in its entirety before this weekend. And I don't even have a good reason why. I don't have a good reason why. I completely take the blame for it. This is an iconic movie, and I know that it was. I just never got around to it. I don't know what it Yes.
We all have a movie like that we're just like, I don't know why I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. I feel like I
Yeah.
have more movies like that though than the average person.
I mean, but there are so many movies out there that I think we
Yeah.
all just
Yeah.
have like there's so many. I get so overwhelmed that sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna rewatch what I love because I
Yes.
can't make the choice.
100%. 100%. Where were you, Mercedes?
I was 4 years old when this came out, but I've been watching it for years. It will always remind me of my mom because she is like a Jane Austen stan. So
Yes.
obviously we love all the adaptations in this house, and we are also like a firm like Colin Firth house. I love Hugh Grant, but my mom like loves to bring up his '90s scandal anytime I rave about him. So we're like very Colin Firth.
Wait, what's his 90s scandal?
You don't know?
Oh, wait, Hugh Grant said, did he sleep with a nanny?
No, he um I I don't even so he
Is it inappropriate?
yes, he cheated on his like supermodel girlfriend with a sex worker. Like he was like paparazzi like in the street.
Ah, so typical male fashion, essentially. Like,
Yes, exactly.
90s
Like
male fashion.
just and it's yeah, of course, like so just one of those like hot actor stereotypes, but
Okay, got it. Okay, well, that wasn't too bad. Like, I'm not surprised by that.
it's just so scandalous.
Ooh, a scandal. Everyone loves a scandal. Um, so I remember in 2001, I was 9 years old, and Mercedes, like from doing so many episodes with me, I literally cannot remember fifth grade. Like that is the elusive era for me, and I always say that. But it's so funny because as I was thinking, like as I was writing my notes for this episode, I realized I think the reason I can't remember fifth grade is because I have tied every year in grade school, middle school to who I had a crush on at school.
Yeah.
I don't think I had a crush on someone at school in fifth grade. I think I had a crush on someone at church in fifth grade, and that's why I can't remember it. I know, I figured it out. I freaking figured it out, and I'm really proud of myself.
That's so smart because I think like that's the best way to map out like childhood is through crushes.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, first grade was Sean, second grade was this person, third grade was Andrew, fourth grade was the other John, fifth grade, and I'm like, okay, I had a crush on someone at church, that's why I can't remember. And church is not like, oh, you go to a different, it's like continuously the same all the time.
Yeah.
So couldn't tell you who I had. I probably this kid Jordan that I grew up with. I probably had like the biggest crush on him. But yes, that's who I was crushing on when this movie came out. How about you? What were you doing?
I was 4. I hadn't even started school. Yeah, it was like preschool vibes. So I think I was just crushing. Now everyone knows that I had the biggest crush on Danny Zuko in Greece. So I think him and then Sean Hunter, Boy Meets World. That's when I really started watching like reruns of Boy Meets World. So I was like in it. I was dedicated. Oh my gosh.
Boy Meets World is on Disney Plus, and I started watching.
Yes,
I've
I've watched it all the time.
Oh yeah, I watched Boy Meets World, Even Stevens, and Lizzie McGuire. I love them.
Oh, I love Lizzie.
I know, she's so great, so iconic. Guys, it's time for the Rom-Com Hall of Fame. But of course, Mercedes, we gotta roast this movie. Tell me what does not age well.
The number one thing for me in this is the idea that Renee Zellweger is overweight in this movie. It's so insane, and it's like this 90s, early 2000s obsession with thinness and that toxic diet culture that is still like far from gone. Like we still see it all the time. It just takes different forms and different wording, but it's just so blatant. And I don't know, the comments she receives from even strangers in this movie are so cruel, and her body is thin and just normal thin woman body. I don't know what else to say. And it's discussed in this movie as being so unacceptable. And I roll my eyes every time because it's so frustrating. And apparently like afterwards she like made comments about like, oh, I gained the weight for the role and then I lost it right away. I don't know why anybody stays like overweight. And it's like, okay, you have no grounds to speak on anyone's body image. Oh God. So early 2000s.
It really is. I actually recently heard this story that kind of broke my heart that is in a similar vein to like Bridget Jones, in the sense that like this girl is bigger and she recently received attention from this guy who is like conventionally attractive, and she they actually started dating. Like he actually is like a great guy, really nice to her, but he does not want to be seen with her in public. And she
Oh,
feels like, okay, that's I deserve that because I look this way. But at least he
no.
like when we're together, he treats me right, like he respects me. He does like he tells me that he loves me. All of this stuff, he just doesn't want to be seen with me in public. And I feel like a lot of that mentality, it's so interesting how our our perceptions of what is beautiful not only negatively affect women, but they also negatively affect men. Men think I should
Hmm.
only like this type of woman, this woman who looks this way. Those are types of people I should go after, and if I'm interested in anything else, then it is wrong. And it just breaks my heart because you know it started with movies like this. Like you know,
Yes,
movies like this were a time,
exactly.
yeah, and it breaks my heart.
Oh
Um,
my God. I
yeah,
hate it.
I think another rose for me is just, I mean, I relate to this as someone who is 30 and single and has been perpetually single basically my entire life. Just like the fact that when she's at the party and Mark is like, she's a 32-year-old spinster. Like, I was so mad about that. Like,
I know.
it's just so rude because here's the thing, it's not, I never in a million years thought it would be this difficult to find love, but also too, it is very difficult to find love just in general.
Hmm.
Like it is difficult to find that person who's going to elevate your life. So for you to mock someone because of their age and the
I
fact that they
know.
haven't
Never
yet, like,
shame anybody for that. It's also really interesting because in the book, she's 2 years older, and then in the movie, they made her younger. And I mean, 2 years isn't
ugh.
that big of a difference, but I think it does
Hmm.
speak to like, I don't know, like what we want to portray. Because
Yeah.
obviously, like the movie is going to be more widely seen than the book is going to be read in most
Hmm.
cases. So it is interesting that they're like, no, yeah, 32 spinster.
Yeah.
Like it's just absurd. Also, like
Hmm.
get spinster out of your vocabulary. Like
There you
who
go.
cares?
Also, who's a spinster
Ugh.
anymore?
Exactly. And okay, my other roast is her boss is hitting on her and like
Ugh.
eventually dating her, and it's that's seen as like a good thing in this movie. Like my only advice to Bridget is call HR. Like, are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yes.
Screenshot all those IMs and go to
Yes.
HR.
Sexual harassment. Okay. This is an inappropriate question, and you don't have to answer, and that's totally fine.
Okay.
If Nico Harago was your boss, Mercedes, like you worked at this cool media company, and Nico Harago just happened to like own the media company, and he was like, "Hey, Mercedes."
I wouldn't accept like flirtation from
Hmm.
like a power dynamic.
Yes.
I would like be like, okay, leave, and then we can date, or
Yes.
like
Yes.
knock down your title a couple,
Yes.
or like any, I don't know. But
Smart.
I know it's complicated,
Mm.
but not for me.
But also, Daniel is a Nico Harago, so it's the point
Yeah.
is.
Also, like, in what world? But whatever.
What is your favorite quote from this movie?
My favorite quote is, "I like you very much, just as you are." And it
Hmm.
just melts my heart. Like, and I love
Yeah.
how when she tells her friends, they're all just like, "Just as you are." So amazing.
It's very cute. It's very cute. It's funny. My favorite quote happens when she's like kind of trying to tell, she's telling him the same thing, and in the midst of it, she goes, "I seriously believe that you should rethink the length of your sideburns."
Yes.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Mercedes, if this movie pops up on your Tinder feed, are you swiping left or are you swiping right?
I am swiping right. I think this
Mhm.
movie does so much in how it blends relatability with like how exaggerated the humor is. We get to
Yeah.
see one of like the best movie fights between Hugh Grant and Colin Firth set to It's Raining Men. It's iconic. I love it. Plus, we also have scenes of Bridget like getting ready for events in such a relatable way, like waxing and like doing all this maintenance stuff that like is just like the harsh reality. Like she's never effortless, and her
Mhm.
clumsiness and like her ability to never say the correct thing isn't seen as this like silly quirk she has or something that she overcomes. It's just a part of who she is. It's her personality, and I just love how the story focuses more on her character development than the romance,
Mhm.
and then the romance isn't this gift because she has any self-improvement. It's all because Mark Darcy just likes her the way she is, and that's really what
Yeah.
matters. And we get to watch Bridget live her life and come into her own in her 30s, in her romance with her friends, her family, and work, all included in that journey. And it's like a lot happens in this movie. And Bridget's character growth is just for her. And I love that because like I love how she lands this man that she's meant to be with by just being her normal self, and he like
Mm.
observes her through like all those cringeworthy moments and loves her for that.
Yeah. Mercedes,
Yeah.
you just made me blush. I love it. um, I 100% agree with everything that you said. And I am swiping right as well. I'm a
Yay.
sucker for any form of entertainment with British accents, anyways. So,
Yeah.
but then you throw Hugh Grant and Colin Firth in there, two of the sexiest men at that time. I am all in.
Truly.
I am all
Oh.
in. My reasons are always way less analytical than yours, but I'm like, yeah, they're hot. Let's swipe right.
I mean, at the end of the day, I have told my friends multiple times I don't like to watch movies without hot people.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Guys, it's time for couples therapy. We like to give advice to the couples on how they can improve their relationship. And I would love to hear what you think, Mercedes. I'll let you go first this time.
Yeah. The biggest thing here for me is just like learn how to communicate productively and have
Hmm.
patience. Both of these people are complicated and flawed, just like any real relationship. So
Hmm.
just have patience and really care for one another. Be gentle.
I agree. I agree. I also think they should let go of fear, Mercedes. There's a
Yeah.
lot of fear surrounding both of them of like what the future may hold or how each other will feel or and I would say I just feel like they need to develop a level of comfort around each other.
Yeah.
At first and just not be afraid to be vulnerable because that's what it's going to take for this to work, for this to work. But also too, I think it's very interesting because I feel like this is one of the first rom-coms we've watched where I feel like the main character like embodies all five love languages or needs all
Ooh.
five love languages. So I think she was genuinely happy when like all of the so like acts of service when Mark was helping her with her birthday meal, right?
Yeah.
Gifts when he buys her a new journal, a new diary, like physical touch, which was her whole relationship with Daniel. Words of
Hmm.
affirmation when Mark tells her that he likes her just the way that she is, and she kind of harbors on those words the rest of the film. And then quality time with both men, right? It's essentially like just talking and being around them. It's just enjoyable. So I feel like Bridget is all five of those.
That's so insightful, Kendra, because honestly, like that's what the love languages are supposed to be. Like we need
Mm.
everything here. And like the
Hmm.
quizzes just tell us like what we prefer. But like that's so true. Like she really does embody everything and like needs all of these things because she's just been without them and
Hmm.
like hasn't been loved and cared for in the way that she rightfully deserves.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like words of affirmation is major here. Obviously, like this is narrated through her journal, and that's where she's like expressing all of these like the range of feelings she has for Mark Darcy through time. And I also
Hmm.
think like he is such like he needs quality time because he's so observant and
Hmm.
awkward and kind of aloof in that way. And that's how he really falls for Bridget is just watching her from the side.
Yeah.
And I think he gives acts of service through helping her, like for the dinner and buying her the new diary. And then also, like, her interview, the like big interview she got for her job. Like, that's so important. I don't know. Like, he saw the opportunity to help her and he just went for it. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Love it. So, okay. Does this couple last in 5 years?
Yes, they are meant to be. I haven't watched the sequels in a while, so I can't really remember what happens.
You know I haven't seen them at all. So I would actually say yes. I think they're old enough and mature enough to understand their feelings and make it work, which we don't often get characters like that. So it's nice to be able to say that.
Yes.
All right, it is time for Heartthrob. Mercedes and I just like to gush over who we love in the movie, and I feel like this is another one we're gonna agree very strongly on. Mercedes, who's
Hell
your
yeah.
crush in this movie?
Mark Darcy.
Mike
He
Darcy.
he's perfect. He is first of all grumpy, which we know I love. He's awkward and he's sweet and he's non-threatening, which we talk about probably weekly here. It's a very important quality. And Colin Firth just like wins at being so charming with the kindest eyes, and you just want him to
Yeah.
like hold you, but also Hugh Grant's hair. Like, what a man.
Oh, oh
What
my
a
gosh.
man.
Just want to run my fingers through this.
I know.
Oh,
It just, I love the way it flops. Oh my gosh.
yeah, 100% agree. I still love Colin Firth to this day. I need to watch The Staircase
Yeah.
on HBO. Like
Ooh,
I still love him
yeah.
to this day. Guys, we're gonna play Mary, Smooch, Ghost. We have Mark Darcy, Daniel Cleaver, and let's say Bridget's friend, the one who wrote the hit song. Who are you marrying? Who are you smooching? Who are you ghosted?
Okay, obviously I'm gonna. I'm sorry, that made me laugh. I'm gonna marry Mark Darcy. I'm gonna smooch Danielle Cleaver because he's so beautiful, and I'm gonna ghost Bridget's friend because I don't think he's really interested in me. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, he's more interested in if you heard his hit song back in the 90s.
Exactly.
I agree with you. I agree.
I have a question for you. If you had to
Yes.
choose two movie heartthrobs to be in a love triangle with, who would you choose?
Oh,
It's
God.
honestly one of the hardest questions I've ever asked.
This is the hardest question anyone has ever asked me in my 30 years of being on this planet. If I had to choose between two movie heartthrobs to be in a love triangle with, who would
Yeah.
I choose? Oh my gosh. Like, do they have to be from the same movie?
No, no, no. They don't even have to be from like the same generation.
Oh
Nothing.
no, that's worse.
You have
That's even
endless
worse.
opportunity here.
Oh my god, wait, that's so much worse. Okay, wait, okay, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh my god, wait, you answer the question first. Come back to
Okay,
me.
it's so hard, and I was thinking about it honestly all night, and I was like, who would be like so good in this dynamic? Because
Yeah.
like, and like, who would I want to like fight for me, like duel for me, you know?
Mhm.
And I think I would want James Marsden and Chris Pine.
I love it. I love
You
it.
know, because
Okay.
they're kind of like the same category of man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's kind
you're
of an
thinking,
even playing field. Yeah.
You're thinking actors. See, I'm thinking like actual characters. So I think I would have.
Ooh,
I think I would have said Lloyd Dobler from Say
of
Anything because he is
course.
my dream guy, and
Yeah.
then also too Ray Fiennes from Made in Manhattan.
Whoa.
I know.
I was not I was not expecting that.
I just love him, and I love his character in that movie, and I love him. I love him as an actor. So I think that's
Lloyd
very.
Dobler would get him.
Ugh,
I don't know. I
He would,
think
he'd be
he
intimidated by him, but he'd be so like, hey, you're a politician. That's really cool. I love Kendra though, so you should let me have her because I just
they
love
wouldn't
her.
even like fight. Yeah, he would just like
Yeah,
talk him down.
exactly. That's what I love about Lloyd. That's what I love about him. um,
Oh, I
I
love
lost my
it.
spot. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Ooh. Okay, guys. Before we wrap it up, we always love to bring in a pop culture moment. What do you got for me, Mercedes?
Yeah, so like I said, there's been two sequels of Bridget Jones, and apparently there's been a musical in the making since 2009, and there's
Hmm.
no word if it will ever like come to light, but I'd love to see it. Because the music in this movie is so fun anyway that I'd love to see like what they actually do with like song choices to like tell this story. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, my other fun fact is Shirley Henderson plays Bridget's friend Jude, who's often seen crying in the bathroom. And we all probably know Henderson best as playing Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter. And I just think it's crazy that someone who has been typecast as a bathroom crier.
Of all the things you can be typecast in Hollywood.
Exactly. They're like,
Speaking
you
of
look
Harry,
like you've been sad in a bathroom.
yeah, exactly. Speaking of Harry Potter, though, both of Bridget's parents in here, Jim Broadbent and
Yes.
Gemma Jones, they both played characters in Harry Potter. So we got a whole Harry
Yeah.
Potter family in here.
Those British people, they were
Yes,
all in Harry Potter.
exactly, exactly.
Oh
Did
my
you want to give your life,
goodness.
Liz?
Yeah. So we have some sadder news for
Yeah.
listeners out there. We are pretty heartbroken to say that the Rom-Com Room is coming to an end. But yeah, having this opportunity has been so special to me. But I'm just so grateful that we had the chance at all and that Kendra and I have like grown such a bond through this and been on this journey. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who listened, as well as everyone who we interviewed. You were all so wonderful, and it was so great to get your insight. And just thank you to rom-coms because if we have to, just because we have to stop talking about them here, we will always rewatch them and we will always love them. And there are just so many more that we didn't even get to discuss that are just out there for us to love on our own.
Yes, definitely. I feel like I've grown so much in not just like my movie knowledge, but just my
Mhm.
understanding about love and relationships. It's been such a pleasure getting to share these films. It just brings so much joy, and we're always happy to talk about them with you listeners. Thank you for listening. To my co host, Mercedes, you are one of my favorite people to talk to about this genre with.
Aw.
I learned so much from you and your insight and your knowledge, and I cannot thank you enough for this experience. And to meet Q as well, thank you for giving us this opportunity to be able to
Yes.
talk about the things that we just simply love, which are rom coms.
Yes, thank you, Meet Cute.
So, guys, make sure to slide into our DMs at Meet Cute. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Ken10 Hollywood. And for the last time, my name's Kendra.
Yes, and I'm Mercedes. You can find me at MercedesGB11 on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And if you're looking for new rom-coms, follow Meet Cute wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow Meet Cute on socials everywhere. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.